related to the agriculture and agricultural products. Addressing the event, the President said that planting in East Awainet is implemented using the groundwater reserves. SCC said that the rational water usage are applied in the agriculture in East El Awainet, adding that the state is keen in order to utilize the modern irrigation mechanism in Toshkan. The President said that the state is aiming to attract investors to the new zones and to maximize the productivity of the agricultural products. He said researchers and studies must be compiled in order to achieve the agricultural industrialization. He said that the groundwater storage is being used according to the international standards to prevent it being wasted. He inaugurated a number of projects in East Awainet via video conference. The President also inspected agricultural projects in the area and was briefed on the progress in the area and the production data. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you weigh the importance of the wheat harvest season?
I must be the most glad citizen in Egypt today, seeing our president opening those projects, especially the potatoes. I am famous. One of my nicknames is the potatoes man. It was my fight and our negotiators fight against our partners to make our share in the European market and in the Arab market bigger and bigger, especially in potatoes. We produce, by the way, the best potatoes in the world. This is what our friends in Europe are telling us. But we faced two problems there. First, that Europe is importing potatoes by quotas. They have a very strict system to import agricultural products to protect their farmers. Second, that we had the brown rot disease, and we make a big fight against it until we make our product the best in the world. Another thing I want to say that every ton of potato we produce, it creates 4 jobs. This is very important. So if you know that we are exporting 1 million tons of potatoes, this means 4 million families are getting jobs. That's why really I appreciate very much what is going on. On the other side, the wheat also, because we are the largest importer of wheat in the world, and now it is in the mind and of our government to increase our production of wheat to make our imports less and less to save more dollars. And so really it must be a very happy day for me and my the citizens who understand, who knows these stories.
Mr. Ambassador, how would you describe the history of the wheat harvest season in Egypt? That songs have been dedicated for the specific seasons as well. So how do you see that?
Until certain time, our production of wheat was enough for all the Egyptians. But mind you that I started my life during the Egyptian kingdom. We were 18 million inhabitants. Now we are more than 6 times this number. So what we are producing of wheat is not enough for us. So we are importing. We are the largest importer in the world, but we want to make this less and less by producing more and more wheat. By the way, I must be honest to you and to our audience that wheat is not the best production we can produce. Our best production is vegetables and fruits. And we are the best in the world to produce it. We earn a lot. Flowers, by the way, is one of the best production we can produce. But for national reasons, security reasons, we want to produce as much as we can of wheat. And it seems that we are making a sort of a story of success in this field, and we shall continue expanding the area of producing wheat in Egypt, and maybe in other brother countries like Sudan.
Yes.
Hopefully that Sudan will be in
Yes.
a situation, a better situation,
Yes.
that we can make a sort of cooperation in this field
Yes.
of cooperation.
Sir, that would bring me to ask here, to what extent the Russian-Ukrainian war did affect the import of wheat? Thus, we had to rely on, to a great extent, on the production of wheat as well.
I am afraid that we exaggerated a little bit about talking about this.
Yes.
Because Russia or Ukraine is not our only source of wheat. I can tell you with all confidence that many countries are waiting for us to import wheat from them. I used our imports of wheat to get better deals with the Europeans. In France, in Germany, in Romania, all of them are ready to send us their wheat. United States has a long history with us.
Yes.
Since Gamal Abdel Nasser, we were importing wheat in Egyptian pounds, and we paid the Egyptian pounds to the American embassy and to the American university to cover their expenses. This is a long story. So I am not worried about the wheat imports to Egypt.
Yes.
Because wheat is, there is a surplus of wheat everywhere in the world.
Yes.
We shouldn't be worried about it.
Also, how do you expect the investors here and the businessmen to be attracted to the East Wainet and the Toshka region?
Here we have to be careful, and we have to encourage them and to give them sort of encouragement. Why? Because the whole investors in the Arab world are keen to invest in services. Services are much more easier.
Yes,
they invest in housing, in hotels, tourism, name it. So 80% of our new investors are going to this field, services. Only 9% to industry, which is not enough. And the worst news that it's only 2% of the new investors goes to agriculture. So we have to make big efforts in order to encourage them to come and invest on agriculture, because really agriculture is a big challenge. So we accept this, and the government from one side and our investors on the other side, who we have to make them live better if they choose to cover whatever we need of their production.
Yes. Finally, Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you weigh the impact of the current global crisis on Egypt on the economic level?
It affects the whole world.
Indeed.
And the bad news that the whole world, most of the world, economy is diminishing.
Yes.
Even in the Americas, in Europe, and China. Only a little bit number, they say 5 countries in the whole world are growing positively.
Yeah.
One of them is Egypt, by the way. So this is the small bit of good news. But still, we are growing by 4-5%, which is not enough.
Of course.
Because the birth rate is getting higher, and we have to continue our efforts in order to make our growth much better.
Yes.
But thank God we have a problem, but we are in a much better situation than many other countries.
Indeed. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, always a pleasure to listen to your precious input. Sir, thank you so much. And indeed, earlier today, President Abdel Fattah Sisi witnessed the inauguration of the agricultural projects in East Wainet and the wheat harvesting ceremony. The President was briefed on the latest data and the numbers related to the agriculture and agricultural products. Addressing the event, the President said that planting in East Wainet is implemented using the groundwater reserves. The President also said that the national rationalization of the water usage are applied in agriculture in East Awainet. He added that the state is always keen to utilize a modern irrigation mechanism in Toshka. The president also said that the state is aiming to attract investors to the new zones and to maximize the productivity of the agricultural products. He said researches and studies must be compiled in order to achieve the agricultural industrialization. He said the groundwater storage is being used according to the international standards. More details about that we would be covering in our special coverage for the event, but we'll go to a short break, and after that we'll be back to continue our special coverage, so stay tuned.